How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my review of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes for the Nintendo Gamecube. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, I'm quite a fan of Prime 1, as highlighted in my very first review, so you must all be thinking that I was super pumped for the next game in the Metroid series when it was announced. Well, it didn't quite go like that. My first experience with the Prime series was actually Echoes, since I didn't even own a Gamecube at the time of the first Prime's release, and I didn't keep up with it much either. The only thing I had to go by was some random article I read in a game magazine, quite a while before Prime 1 was released, in which the editor basically stated that he thought the game was going to suck based on the first person perspective. Later down the line, sometime in late 2004, I started hearing great things from game reviewers about how the game had two different worlds to explore, a light and a dark one. Whoa, two different worlds, sounds cool. And just like that I was sold. Yeah, it didn't really take much to impress me back in the day. With the critical and commercial success of the first Metroid Prime, Retro Studios was given the go-ahead to make Metroid Prime into a trilogy, and in November of 2004, the second installment in the Prime series was released, entitled Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, also known as Dark Echoes in Japan. The game begins with bounty hunter Samus Aran receiving a distress signal from a group of marines stationed on planet Eva, and as she approaches, is struck by a bolt of lightning from the planet's atmosphere, causing her to make a near-flawless crash landing. It is now that Samus is first introduced to the player, showing off her new graphical overhaul, and upon further exploration, it is found that the marines are all dead, but proceed to become zombified through a strange unknown dark force and go on to attack her without warning. Defeating the marines and further exploring the hive, Samus encounters a mysteriously dark figure that quickly escapes through a portal. Given chase, Samus ends up in a strange new world, and upon further inspection of the dark figure, who is now extracting Phazon, realizes that it is a dark version of none other than herself. Before she can react, the dark figure, now dubbed Dark Samus, proceeds to shoot the crystal behind her, exposing the harmful environment, making her feel the burn. Just before Samus escapes, she is ganged up on by other dark creatures who steal her equipment, giving Dark Samus time to escape. As you may have guessed by now, most of her power-ups are gone, including her morphball bombs, her grappling beam, her dignity, amongst other things. I mean, seriously, keep spares in your ship. Okay, so maybe it was a bit difficult to avoid this situation, and it certainly isn't as bad as the excuse used in a later Metroid game. You know the one. Upon returning to the light world, she discovers that the Marines' transmissions were being blocked by the planet's atmosphere, and in the meantime, all of them were overrun and wiped out by the dark-imbued Splinter enemies. Travelling further still, Samus encounters a bigger Splinter enemy that is possessed by the unknown dark force in seconds, but she quickly makes short work of it, resulting in the release of an unidentified ball of light. Don't you just love how the item acquired music plays as if you've just triumphed by getting some unknown object?
What the hell did I just get?
Samus later encounters Umos, a member of a race known as the Luminos, discovering that the ball of light was actually a key to restoring energy on their planet, and also learns that the dark creatures she previously encountered were known as Ing, and have caused the planet to split into two worlds, both light and dark. It is then that Samus sets out on her quest to rid Aether of its dark counterpart by restoring energy to the three major regions, thus restoring peace to the planet once again. If you've previously played the first Metroid Prime, then you'll instantly feel familiar with the heads-up display and controls. Hey, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And much like I mentioned for Prime 1, will feel strange for newcomers, but works very well once you get to grips with them. The atmosphere is again very immersive and well pulled off, as we will be taken through the Torvus Bog, Aegon Wastes, and my personal favourite, the graphically stunning mechanical stronghold known as the Sanctuary Fortress. Prime 2 takes a much darker tone to its environments, since most of the areas are desolate. This is especially true for the dark counterparts of the particular area, as it should be, since the world is supposed to represent the after effects of a war zone, and again is designed in a way that has many secret areas to hide missile expansions and energy tanks, which are usually obtained by carrying out short puzzles. After reaching Dark Aether for the first time, you will soon realise that the atmosphere is highly toxic and acerbic, since it will cause you to take continual damage and at a fast rate, meaning you won't be able to just run out in the open when you feel like it. Well, unless, you want to die. But instead, plan your route using the many light crystals that will provide permanent cover, and light beacons which are temporary and can be activated by a shot of your power beam. The music was once again composed by Kenji Yamamoto, like in the first Prime, with brand new music alongside some remixes from classic Metroid games, and not just recycled tracks from Prime, which gets a plus from me. The music fits this new atmosphere just as well as the music did in the previous Prime. Most of Samus's arsenal makes a return from Metroid Prime, but with a few added power-ups, and most notably the beam weapons. Wait, my finger paintings? Where have they gone? This time around, Samus has the light and dark beams, which I'm guessing are to fit with the whole light and dark theme, and were obtained relatively early in the game. There is also a more powerful beam that is acquired later on in the game, but isn't all that useful. The dark beam replaces the iconic ice beam, since it fires cold dark shots that will freeze enemies for a short period of time when fully charged, and does more damage to enemies in the light world, whereas the light beam replaces the plasma beam and fires concentrated light energy shots that will roast enemies when it's charged, causing large amounts of damage to enemies in the dark world. To be honest, these weapons are very similar to the beam weapons used in previous Metroid Prime, so I'd say that it's all down to which animation you find prettier to look at. Oh, and they also have ammo this time, which... Wait. Now, I know... Now, I know a lot of you don't really like the limited beam weapon system in this game, but just hear me out for a second. I mean, if we had unlimited beam weapons, then we'd be blasting through all enemies easily, wouldn't we? And it would be just way too easy. And also, you have to conserve ammo to think about later fights. I mean, isn't saving a valuable life on a lesson anyway? You know what? I've had enough. No more. Tried to help you. The scan visor also makes a return as an information gatherer / hacking device, but with minor differences, as this time around it's much easier to see scannable objects, since the small square boxes have been replaced, now allowing for entire objects to be coloured, making them unmissable, with blue representing normal objects, red for objects that are important for progress, and green for already scanned. The enemies of this game usually come in two forms, light and dark. This is due to the possession of most enemies by the Ing, which usually only takes a few seconds, but will immediately cause them to pack a greater punch and move quicker in some cases. Even the robots become possessed later on in the game. How does that even work? But trust me, you do not want to cross paths with some of these things. Now, remember when I mentioned about Echoes taking the difficulty up a notch? Well, this is easily noticeable in the boss battles. Luckily for me as a European player, they weren't too difficult, since in the PAL versions some of these bosses had their damage scaled down so it wasn't as punishing, but for North American players some of these bosses certainly hit, and hard, especially the Boost Guardian, and with no energy beacons in some of these battles will result in you continually taking damage. After defeating each boss, Samus will slowly regain her stolen equipment, which will help in getting that much closer to maxing out on bling. Oh, and destroying the Dark World, can't forget about that now. Although this game has its great features, there are a few small points that irritate me at times, such as some widely spaced out save points near the end of the game. One before a particular boss in the Sanctuary Fortress comes to mind, and since your last save point is quite far back, means a lot of your progress will be lost if it kills you, and if you aren't comfortable with using the Morph Ball, the chances of death will be even higher. There is a lot more backtracking in this game compared to other Metroids, which I feel might put off a lot of people, but personally I don't mind it. But by far my least favourite part is near the end, where you end up having to collect hidden objects scattered throughout the Dark World to reach the final area. Starting to see a trend here? Well, this is what replaces the artifact hunt near the end of the previous game, and I can confidently say that the keys are more difficult to find than the artifacts, and also require the use of a new visor to see them, since they are otherwise invisible. Gameplay extension at its finest. Sorta makes me want to take a break again. Wait, no. I have to resist. Well, again, much like the first Prime, a hint system is available, but you'll still have to put in effort to find them. Apart from a few flaws, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is a great game that I found to be nearly as enjoyable as the first. I just thought that the atmosphere wasn't as rich as the first's diverse environments, although I won't say I disliked it because the whole point of Dark Aether was, well, exactly that, creating a dark, bleak environment. Pick this game up if you have the chance, as it's another masterfully crafted game by Retro Studios. But if you aren't too keen on its difficulty, then pick up Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Wii, which includes a PAL-like toned down difficulty. Well, that's if you can find it. Some say it's a myth. This has been OutlawClient. Please leave a comment, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace! How's it going, everyone? Welcome to... Wows. A mistake on the very first word. How is this happening?